Assalamu alaikum rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Hope you're doing well. So this came across my feed. I didn't ask for it, but I just noticed how recently there's been so much anti-Muslim content being pushed on X by people who shouldn't be in my algorithm. So I thought I'd analyze this person's nonsense. Apparently their name is Jake Lang, and he says here, breaking today, we were attacked outside the Philadelphia Halal Food Festival by violent migrant Muslims. Now, when you watch the video, there's like moms, like it's just something I could totally see me and my children going to. You know, going to a little food festival, something permissible, support Muslim businesses and whatnot, and then he shows up screaming like a lunatic and waving signs, instigating their anger and being a provocateur, causing chaos. And he doesn't know who is a migrant and who isn't. I know that the Magatardians assume if you have brown skin, you must automatically be an immigrant. You couldn't have been born here and whatnot. But at the end of the day, they were not violent. There was a guy who came up to him and was like trying to be like, stop it. He's screaming. I mean, security should have taken him away because he's like being a nuisance and disturbing the peace. But he wanted to go viral just to get attention, right? So there's this lunatic who's trying to get famous by shouting at moms pushing their kids in strollers. But I tell you, the Christian Magatardians are the absolute worst. They strike you, and then when you're like, stop it, they're like, oh, you're trying to hurt me. It's the weirdest thing, I tell you. And he says, because we held signs saying America will not fall to Islam. And it's like, well, you Christians couldn't make the country better. You failed at your jobs. Nickelodeon, MTV, BET, countless Cinemax After Hours. If you're in the 90s, you'll get that reference. There are so many avenues for decay in America. And Christians should focus on getting their women to stop showing their cleavage in a summer dress with a cross around their neck. Maybe focus on making your women read and obey the Bible instead of freaking out at a halal food festival. Just a thought. Now he says Western culture is on the brink of extinction. We must push back. So how are you pushing back? By screaming at children. What do you think that these people are going to stop becoming Muslims because they see you screaming about nonsense? Islamification is here. Okay, well, if your religion is true, well, go and give them some preaching, some ministering at your church. See, if Muslims or any other religion showed up to a Christian festival and was screaming at Christians, they'd be like, oh, we're a victim. But when Christians go to festivals where there's peace, kids having joy, some delicious food, people trying to make memories, and there's a lunatic Magatardian Christian just shouting down at them, you're not convincing them of your ideas, and it's inappropriate and bad manners. I mean, have some etiquette. You want to talk about Western culture? Have some decency, alright? But this is like the male version of Laura Loomer. It's totally insane. In Philadelphia, so okay, I went to high school in Philly. There is so much people on fentanyl, drugs, and shooting each other. He's not trying to fix that. He's worried about Muslims going to a halal food festival. Is he going to the prisons and telling people to leave the gang life? Is he telling women to stop doing stripping? Is he doing anything important? No, he's got some crappy made signs that he scribbled on with a Sharpie, and then he's just shouting at people having some, delicious food. Very unsightly. And I did mention in the past that MAGA Christians are the worst Christians possible. The worst. They like to pretend that they're these religious, pious people, but they are not crusaders. They're just provocateurs. They're people who remind me of a dog that barks behind a fence, but then when you open the gate, they stay where they are and they continue to bark through the fence. I don't know if you've ever seen how some dogs, they'll act all tough, and then when you open the gate, they don't move, they just continue barking at you. But in the beginning, you would see that they look so vicious, but they're really not. That's what he is. And he's a January 6th political prisoner. So he was at the Capitol riot, and Trump let this lunatic free. And what does he go do? Instead of appreciating his freedom, he goes and disturbs people having some food at a festival, and children are around playing, grandparents, peaceful, good environment, good times. He shows up and wants to rant and rave. So maybe the liberals and Democrats, progressives and whatnot were right to keep these animals locked up. If Trump would not have gotten in power, he would have been behind bars. He says he was in there for 1467 days, so 1,467. So he had lots of time to think, to appreciate sunlight, to do something good with his life. And what did he decide to do? I'm gonna go shout at pregnant women and grandpas. There's like maybe you got a cousin there who's got Down syndrome and doesn't know what's going on. And there's just this random dude on the street screaming about Islam. And not surprised that he's also friends with Valentina Gomez. So very insane, very disturbing individual. He's got a lot of followers. You also just gotta wonder how many are bots, The more I learn about the internet, the more that I can see it's all controlled. People buying bots, buying likes, people get throttled. I was replying to some Zios and on my sock account, and I got a temporary restriction on my account. And I wasn't swearing or saying anything vulgar, but these accounts that spew hate against Muslims, they don't get restricted. And I wasn't even being disrespectful. I was being a bit saucy, witty, humorous, a little bit of satire, but nothing extreme like these people. But you can see there's an anti-Islam bias, and Elon hates Muslims, and that's clear. And he doesn't support the Palestinians. Okay, he's not a free speech person at all. And so I do wonder, are any of these real people, following him and whatnot? And he's followed by some people who are on the right wing. But again, that lunatic Valentina Gomez running for Texas, this psychopath is trying to go for Florida. Of course, it's always Florida. So again, another example of an insane Megatardian Christian who thinks it's productive to go shout at people who are eating. And then here I actually made sure to take a screenshot. Look at this. This is just sisters pushing kids. Pushing kids. You got black, you got different shades of women. And then he shouts, "This is not Somalia." You mean America doesn't have food festivals? Has this guy ever been to a 4th of July celebration? I mean, we have tons of them. And when we are in Utah, we got the county fairgrounds. I mean, come on. I mean, halal is not too much different from kosher. So if Jays were having a kosher festival, how does that affect him in his life? So he goes there looking for trouble, starts trouble, and then frames himself as a victim while he's shouting at children. Imagine you're like, okay, I got a nice day off, gonna go with my family, got your diaper bag, your baby's nursed, and then, you're just pushing and you see this random guy in the middle of the street. America will not fall to Islam. And you're like, hey man, you want something to eat? No! How dare you! The Islamification is here, the sky is falling. We'll push back against you. And then you're just sitting there like, okay man, got fresh lemonade over there in the corner. You want some? No! Hey, there's some donuts too. No! We got smoothies. You Islamification person! I'm telling you, man, the Maga cult, they're so unhinged. I think that, like, European Christians look probably at American Christians and think, like, these people are, like, off their rocker. The most insane group of people who are openly white supremacists, and then they have minions who are Latino or black that serve them and push the white supremacist agenda as tokens. It's so weird. All around a real estate guru with orange skin who dated supermodels and whatnot. It's weird. Trump is not a godly man. He's not a religious man. If you analyze his life, his history of his life, he's just a pervert rich guy. And these Magatardian Christians think he's like super special. And they all try to prove themselves by attacking Muslims. So may Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala protect our Muslim sisters and the children. You know, I know what it feels like to be pregnant and have someone insult you. I've had some problems as well, even in these liberal areas, but they were by older men and there was a couple younger bad teens. But I've had some experiences of Islamophobic behavior where I'm just minding my own business, you know. So it's a very uncomfortable thing, and it's sad that the children have to witness you as a mom go through that. But people like this guy Jake Lang, they're not victims. If you verbally accost women and then you think you're a gentleman, classy and sophisticated and want to be taken seriously, no. These little kids is in their diapers and you're screaming to them. I mean, so bizarre. But, I mean, what can you expect from Magatardian Christians, right?